G'day everyone, and welcome to another edition of Chris Rankin's Music Crush. Bit of a different one for me today. First of all, I'm replying to a thread question that was set out by Mutha Alamare. Aaron's a really good friend of mine, great channel. Always love watching his channel, and he set out a thread where he was asking not only what are your Grails, but what is your Super Grails, those albums that you may never ever come across and you only ever see them very expensive. Sometimes you just don't even see them at all and just almost super hard to get. So I don't have any props today because these are albums that I actually don't own. I don't think I even own any of these in any physical format, just looking. No, I don't at all, not in any physical format. So, and most of these I do want on vinyl LP anyway. And I've actually got, I never have notes, but I've got notes today. Just because I want to get, I'm going to quote some prices of how much these are worth and how much I've seen. So I want to sort of get that right. And it was a little bit to remember. So I normally just fly off what I know, but I will be looking at my notes just for the prices. So I'll get on with it. I've got a bit of a list. I've got a massive list of Grails. My Grails is sort of, well over 200. And the Super Grails I did cull down a fair bit to really concentrate on the ones. And some that I was actually looking at, I've realised and I saw that were actually quite a bit cheaper than I had once seen. So I took them off, and now I'll be closely looking at them. But here we go. We'll get on the list. Please check out Aaron's channel and subscribe and all that. I'll pull the link to his channel in the description below. First up, the band Atrocity with their fantastic death metal album called Hallucinations, one of the best death metal albums ever made of all time. Now, even the reissue, the 2013 reissue of this album is between $75 and $150. I can't remember how much the original press. It's a 1990 album, super expensive, super rare, an all-time classic death metal album that I've always wanted the physical format of, and I've never got around to getting it, but I just love it to bits. Afflicted, another death metal album from 1992, Swedish. And I'm looking here, I wrote down $130 to $220, normally see that one for. Always, the album is called Prodigal Son. It's got a big eye on the cover, black cover with a big eye on the cover. 1992, Swedish death metal, very hard to get. Parasite, a Swedish heavy metal speed metal band from 1984, I think that EP was. They only ever put out one EP, Parasite, and it's got like a person riding on the back of a pterodactyl on the cover. Now, my very good friend Dave Belfour in Sydney, Australia, he has a copy of that. I can't remember whether it's on CD or vinyl, but I know he has a copy of it. And I wrote down that normally goes somewhere between $140 to $250. A very, very, very rare record indeed. Now, this is a weird one. So Dizzy Mystics with Wonderlost, they released an album in 2019, a prog rock album, which blew my mind. Finished very high on my top 100 of that year. But they've never released it on physical format. It's only been a digital release at this stage. So I'd be happy for anything. This one obviously has no price. I'd just be happy for them to actually release a physical copy of this. It's brilliant. It's got all the markings of 1970s prog rock. The album cover even has it all. It's just magnificent. It's lush and it's decadent and it's fun and it's got a bit of a summer feel to it. Just magnificent. From, pretty sure they're from Canada. I can't remember now. I'm pretty sure they're from like Edmonton or Calgary or something like that in Canada, but I could be wrong. Winnipeg, maybe? I'm thinking Winnipeg now. Something like that. I'm pretty sure they're from Canada. So there's no price on that, but never been a physical copy. Savage Messiah, that great newer thrash metal band from London, England. Their first album, I think it was their first album, pretty sure, Spitting Venom, what an album it is. Really savage, but very well produced, really good modern sort of thrash metal. Now that normally goes between 70 to 100, which is still a pretty expensive, but I also rarely see it available. Very, very rarely have I seen it actually available. Now, also, by the way, these prices are in Australian dollars, so and this is not generally even including postage as well. So things do start to get a bit more expensive for us down here. Now, Immolation, I'm sure you all know how much I love Immolation. Absolutely adore the band. And they put out an EP, I reckon 2007, something like that, called Providence. Great cover. It's got the big bombers, the big bomber planes, modern bomber planes on the cover. An absolutely fantastic EP. Love it to bits. That one you normally see for $190. So yeah, very, very hard to get. 2000, I think I'm wrong with the 2007, but anyway, I can't remember now. Might have been a little bit later than that. Yeah, I don't know. Don't want to take too long on it. Now, Psy, another band that you all know I love. Started out as a black metal band. They're from Japan. Started out as pure black metal and then morphed into avant-garde metal, progressive black metal. A very interesting band. Lots of great albums. Imaginary Sonoscape is one of my favourite metal albums of all time by them. And it's by them. But their album in Somnophobia, I wrote down $90 to $150. So that one's very expensive. That was their 2012 album. Really, really good album. And yeah, that's a super grail. Now this band, if you know them, you'll know just how much of a genius this band. Just such a rare band, but their album I think is one of the greatest technical death metal, progressive death metal albums of all time. I'm talking about the band Spiral Architect and their album called A Skeptic's Universe. It has some of the most ridiculous guitar playing, bass playing, incredible time signatures, just mind-blowing stuff. If you know this album, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It is one of the greatest pieces of work ever made. I don't have a physical copy of it. I rarely seen it for sale on any format. It's never been on vinyl. So I don't have a price for you on that one. It came out in 2000. Brilliant. Just a magnificent album. One of the best ever. Now, the great Disgorge, the brutal death metal band from San Diego, with their debut album Cranial Impalement. Now, this one, I remembered it was expensive, and I remember that it's always been a very high grail for me. And then when I looked yesterday on Discogs, I saw that most of the time this goes for well over $250. A very, very, very hard thing to get. 1999 album, so not that old, but just a real super grail for mine. I became very good friends with Randy, when he was the vocalist, guest vocaling for Suffocation when I saw them live and hung out with them. That really, I was already into Disgorge a lot, but that really got me going back and listening to them, and this is a big grail of mine for sure. This band, one of the greatest extreme progressive metal bands, especially with this album. The band is called Negura Bunget. They are from Romania, and they came out with an album, I think it was in 2006, called Om. Just a masterpiece of extreme progressive metal, little bit of folk, it's black metal, it's avant-garde, all sorts of things. A masterpiece, one of the best ever. And I wrote down that one is between $140, but I've also seen it regularly go for $500. Just an outstanding album, and just very rarely seen. And when it is, it's expensive, very expensive. This one of the more expensive ones, Lycathia Aflame, and their album 11. I can't remember the title now. Elvenifris, that's it. I always want to say 11, but it's Elvenifris, which now I've written down here, it normally goes for $450. That's the average price that it goes for. A Tech Death band from Czech Republic. That album is the only one that they've ever done, and that came out in 2000. Brilliant album and just super expensive. Yeah, $450 is what that normally goes for. Next one, Lords of the Crimson Alliance, a very rare, unknown band, not very well known, heavy metal band. Their self-titled album. Now that normally goes for about $140. That came out in 1986. New York band, New York heavy metal band. Great album, just classic, brilliant heavy metal. I've never seen it out in the wild. I don't think I ever will, and the prices that are asked for it means it's probably never going to be in my hands, but you never know. Obscenity, Suffocated Truth, their 1992 album, death metal album, only on CD. I've only ever seen it on CD, and even then the CD is always over $150, so that's a very, very hard one to get. German death metal band, that classic cover with the mouth. It looks like they're sort of at a dentist and the mouth's being forced open by this huge big sort of power drill coming into it as if it's suffocating them with the machinery. Super hard to get. I don't know if I'll ever get that, but anyway. Now Nocturnus and their second album. I've got the key. I got it on CD. I got that when it first came out. If I ever happen to see it on vinyl, I might get it, but I'm pretty happy that I've got the original release of The Key, one of the best death metal bands of all time, and albums. One of the ones that, along with Death, started Tech Death and Atheist, of course. But their second album, Thresholds, that I love very much. Not quite as much, but almost. I don't have any physical copy of that. I'd love it on vinyl because the artwork is magnificent with the big spaceship and the whole thing there. They're one of those bands that really started the whole tech death metal being about science fiction and spacecraft and all that sort of stuff. So I'd love it on the vinyl because then you get the beautiful big artwork. Now that normally goes for about $150, so that's pretty expensive. Of course, Tampa death metal band. It came out in 1992 and The Key was 1990 from memory. Abagor, fantastic black metal band, just brilliant. And their debut normally goes for about $100 to $150. I very rarely see it. Came out in 1995. Nakthimminen, I think is how you pronounce it. It's got some long title to it, but Nakthimminen, I'm pretty sure. Abagor, it's the blue and black cover, really dark and murky. Just one of the greatest mid-90s black metal album. Absolutely love it, would love that. They had an album that came out right at the end of last year. Absolutely fantastic. And then this one, a lot of you might have known this, and I think Aaron the Metal Theologian may even have this. I'm not sure. I think he does. But Oz, Fire in the Brain. I'd absolutely love that album. Classic sort of heavy metal, speed metal album. And that one I'm always very surprised about how much it is. So the lowest I've seen it is $130, and I've seen it go up easily to $350 and more. And as I say, that's not even including the postage. So Finnish, I think they're sort of mixed between Finland and Sweden, the members. Great album, just a classic underground heavy metal album. Came out in the mid-80s, I think it was 83 or 84, pretty sure it was 1983. So there you go, that's not all of them. Charlie Mingus Blues and Roots is a grail. I don't know if it's a super grail because I know I eventually will see it, and if I really wanted to, I could sort of, pay sort of 50 or 60, I guess, on Discogs and get a copy of it. That one I'd probably really like an original press if I can, which is hard to get. But if it happened to be one of the ones that I saw a decent reissue or repress come out of, and I haven't checked up on that one, maybe there has been recently, so I don't know. But yeah, Charlie Mingus, Blues and Roots, it's actually my favourite pretty close to my favourite jazz album of all time, but I don't have a physical copy of it. I just would love that so much. So there you are, Aaron. That's my answer to your thread. Really good idea. And yeah, as I say, no props today because they're all things that I want physical for and I don't have. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying my channel. And I'll catch you all very soon. Thanks.